Hey everyone. I hope the anniversary's going well for everyone else. I know this isn't usually the video I would do, like the last few videos I made, like the animations, I mean. But I wanted to do something more personal. Other than that, I've been just getting a lot of artist block. And by the time I'm making this right now, there hasn't been any news coming up, like prior to this anniversary. So I couldn't really think of anything new to make for FNAF besides reminisce on the past, I guess. But on the slight chance something comes out on the anniversary itself, as I'm writing this, I hope it's FNAF 2. Anyways, while I was bored one day, I wanted to try and play some Gmod and mess around and hopefully see if anything clicks in my head. Which did happen. I figured I'd want to make some art, not just in Blender, but the old way. I wanted to do it the old way people used to do it, and still do to this day. And instead of SFM, I figured Gmod would be the next best thing. I figured it would be good to have my dumbass voice be commentary as I'm able to recollect the past 12 years I've had with this series. To start at the beginning with the first ever interaction I had with FNAF. It was back when I was 9 years old, I think. When I saw gameplay of the first game. It was during the time everyone around the world was hearing about it. Obviously so, it came out that year. People would be playing it like Markiplier, Smosh, Jacksepticeye, and one in particular that I saw my sister watch, I had Cupquake. I remember vividly when it happened. I was in the kitchen area in my grandma's old home, where I was poking my head around the corner, and I saw what she was watching. I believe she told me prior it was a scary video she was seeing, so I was trying to keep my distance. As I was watching, I saw Cupquake getting jump scared by Bonnie, and as soon as I heard it, I just remember running away, like, without a moment's notice. And I'm pretty sure it was that moment onward that my life would considerably change for either the better or for the worse. I can't really say for certain right now, because my life is still going on. But I think I might be getting ahead of myself for a second. But I think as soon as I saw it, a part of me would be able to recognize it everywhere I would go. I'd be able to see other people playing it, make art, animations, especially the animation, and music as well. I even saw favorite YouTubers when I was a kid, like Thanos and Vajurian Tail, play mods of the game in Gmod. I was still scared of it, of course, when I was a kid. But despite that, I liked it a lot, so I kept on seeing it everywhere I go, and I wanted to. And I don't think I was immediately able to catch on when the second game dropped. I think I remember noticing it when it already came out. Still, I was able to feel the hype for that second game. Along with the announcement of the third one, it felt nice to have the story expand with characters like the purple guy and the puppet being very contrasting to each other. It felt like at the time things couldn't really get worse from there. I'm not talking about FNAF though. If anything, it was kind of like the lighter moment in my time, like when I was younger. But yeah, life kind of caught up to me a little too quick. Not really in a good way. I wouldn't want to get too much into detail, but to put it simply, I wasn't home. I was somewhere else. Not kidnapped, but I just wasn't home. I feel like that's all I can really say without going deep into it, because this isn't about my life. Not really. Kinda. It's just how FNAF has affected me in my life. And sadly though, as life happened, I wasn't really able to keep track with the series, but just only snippets of what was going on. For example, I was able to just see the FNAF 4 trailer only once when I was in summer camp. And I remember just in elementary, I would just hear them talking about a sister location or something. I didn't really know what it was, but eventually I was able to learn. I think I was able to learn more about that when my situation was able to get a little bit better. And when things were getting better for me, I was able to pick up where I left off. That being FNAF 4 and what would also become Sister Location. The essentially two big games that almost broke the series at the time, at least according to the fandom. Also FNAF World, I have a big soft spot for that game. And it was when I came back to the fandom, I was finally able to watch Markiplier play the games himself. Before the fourth game, I think I only seen animations of the first three games he did, along with something called Nox Time War and Among the Sleep. But that was pretty much it for me. That's all I had going off of when I came back, for Markiplier at least. But for FNAF, I had a lot to learn. Fredbear's Vitamin 83 before the Vitamin 87. Funtime animatronics, Scoopers, fucking Ennard? It was a lot, but as I got to see more of FNAF, I was able to see more stuff outside of it. I was able to expand my horizons, and that was pretty rare for me. I was considerably picky. I don't know why, but I just was. It was almost as if the legacy Freddy had started to have the same it kind of just had the same effects Mario did. It started to, like, the existence of Mario in the gaming community were able to spawn other gaming icons like Crash, Rayman, Mega Man, Sonic especially. And I'd say it was the same here. I've seen other figures of the horror, like indie horror, show up. Some were a little too hostile, some were friendly, clingy. I'd say, well, at least one of them could be a little too wet. Basically what I'm saying is that there was a lot more indie games besides FNAF that were popping off when I came back into the internet, I guess. The main hitters I knew were Hello Neighbor, Undertale, Tattletale, Little Nightmares, Doki Doki Literature Club, and one of them being very near and dear for me, Ben the Unique Machine. I guess to put it in simpler terms, think of the rivalry Mario and Sonic had as mascots of, like, gaming. That was basically how I saw Ben D and FNAF. They were two major indie horror franchises. Well, one of them was already, like, many steps ahead with its potential, and the other was just, it already had so much potential at the first, like, creation of it. It's hard to say, but I feel like personally, if it weren't for FNAF, we probably wouldn't have a series like Bendy as well, much less the other stuff that came out in that period of time. I was able to expand my horizon on creativity to a wider range of inspiration, and it gave me stuff to look forward to. Things outside of that weren't getting any better. And as I kept getting older, so that the series, it had so much stuff going on for it back when I came back. Like, it finally had merchandise like plushies, clothing, figures, books, even backpacks. I never really got one of the backpacks at the time, but I really envied people who did when I was like 10 or something. And also that long-awaited 6th installment at the time, which was supposedly the end of our story. I'd like to say that Pizzeria Simulator being somewhat of a fake out and the game to subvert a lot of our expectations feels right. It feels right for Scott to make. It really clashed together with all the jokes he did for the series while also giving people what they want. And I just remember how the release felt on that very day. Hearing about the game come out, like, around Christmas time, I didn't really think much about it at the time, but still, I wanted to be home and see it myself. And when I did, seeing it was actually the FNAF 6 we all were waiting for. It was amazing, absolutely amazing, and I don't think anything can take that feeling away from me. Despite the flaws and mysteries in some aspects, giving us more questions and answers, obviously, it sort of gave us a fitting end. It felt right to end it off when it did, leaving just enough mystery for people to talk about, even to this day, and I love that. And even though we thought it was the end, Scott decided to go for an encore at the time and gave us more things to look forward to. Stuff like a certain custom night update he played, just like he did for Sister Location, and some more bigger projects at the time, like a AAA game for FNAF, a mobile game, and a VR game. And eventually those would become Ultimate Custom Night, Security Breach, Special Delivery, and Help Wanted. To at least start off with the first one, Ultimate Custom Night, it honestly felt like a really good love letter to what the first 6 games had going on. All the characters, all the meaning they had behind the story. It just felt right, I'd say. And not to mention it was already a fucking challenge to deal with. More than that, it felt like hell. I would even argue it's up there with like hardest fights with like Santa's fight from Undertale. At least in my eyes nowadays. It just felt that difficult. Like I could never do that. Like do the 50-20 mode. But someone did, at least. Pretty sure everyone knows, but the British man of the community that everyone either loves or hates, but everyone knows at least. Dalko. He made a deal with Scott. A deal that was upon the completion of the hardest challenge at the time, Scott Cawthon would personally do an interview with him. And on one fateful day when Dalko was doing the challenge, he completed it, completely bursting into tears at the accomplishment he did. I've never really been much of a sports person, but I can at least say that the way people would have rejoiced at this accomplishment of one man, it wasn't anything like a sports event. I can say that. It wasn't your average World Cup or Super Bowl. But I feel like the energy was still there. The energy was almost matched to that. And I couldn't ask for anything else, honestly. But there was still more to go on. The show wasn't quite over. People eventually were able to play Help Wanted, which I don't know why, but I kinda do. It was oddly enough what brought FNAF back into the mainstream. At least that's what it looked like. It was the game that everyone would be playing nowadays. It would be the kind of game people would play starting out without even needing to know what happened in the previous games. I can say it was weird, but also I didn't mind it. It just meant more people would get into the story of FNAF, or at least be a part of the community, which I was pretty glad for. Especially considering the story of this game felt pretty interesting. It was different. For one reason in particular, that being Glitch Trap. I think the presentation for Glitch Trap was almost spot on at the time. Having them be someone you might be able to miss if you're not aware enough. while also being important once you figured it out. It feels pretty awesome. It was something quite familiar to us at the time when we just got the 6th game, but we couldn't quite understand it, especially considering the fact that our main killer was already dead, and his story is all wrapped up being like tortured in hell or whatever. But like as we played the game, we just see this sickly green like imitation of them just watching us from afar, and as we try to learn more of them via the tapes, it would pretty much be too late for us. And in the story, Glitch Trap would have control over us, and we don't really know what would happen next. That is until Dreadbird's DLC came out, which would give us a clue of what could be going on next, but only through an object, a mask. It was a mask made by someone working for them, and that was basically all we got. Well, again, we had the Volvo game that came out special delivery. Sadly, it was discontinued recently, but we only were able to get a name, and that being Vanessa. And she was apparently the one behind the new mask, and supposedly, like at least story-wise, seems to be Glitch Trap's partner in crime. And what crime exactly? We would probably get to figure that out near the announcement of the last thing Scott would announce back then. The AAA game, which finally had a name. Security Breach. The wait for this game was suspenseful, to say the least. The tension was high, people were intrigued, but also skeptical. All we got was just a few trailers showing off the location, but other than that, all we get was just Scott updating us through Reddit, just telling us how the development's going, and letting us know if there gonna be any delays or something. Other than that, we only had 2 actual gameplay trailers, one being very early in development, and the other one being pretty different from what was shown before, and close to the final product that we already got on December 16th. And what we were hoping for was this very expansive, intense game about it being just one last stand against the sins of William Afton and all the things he's committed, having it be infected, being across this new location called the Pizzaplex with Vanessa, or who's now named Vanny, along with other animatronics out to hunt us down, while we only have just one companion to help us out against it. We could finally put the story to rest. Instead, we kind of just got it watered down and very, very buggy. Many people remember the story of Security Breach's Rise and Fall, where the hype of it was so big and exciting. But like the mystery behind it all was enough to get people going, but yet the game itself was very much so filled with bugs and glitches, which, for better or for worse, made more of an impact on the game's first impression than the story, or lack of story, I guess, compared to the other entries. Most of the plot points were stuff we already knew, and others we thought we would know, what we wanted to know more, weren't really touched up upon. And the game was just sort of made as if we were meant to figure it out right then and there. Especially the stuff with Burn Trap and the Blob. Of course, later on we had confirmation that the game came out the way it did because of a lot of miscommunication between Scott and Steelwool, which makes more sense in the longer scope of things. It was really good to hear at the time, but still. Luckily though, like Scott usually does, even all the way back in the first game, he was able to take his chances to improve and fix such a mistake. And the first step at that was a DLC to the base game named Ruin. It was honestly, oddly enough, it was a nice breath of fresh air, or musky air to be more specific. They decided to disregard the brightness and safety of the original Pizzaplex to make it all old and run down after years of decay, and has us fending off enemies new and old. And at the end of it all, we find something that was probably meant to be in the first game, but was probably missed in translation. It was either that or this was Steelwool's and Scott's first actual step to get the story back on track. While the books had introduced them prior to Ruin, this was a lot of people's first proper introduction to the Mimic, who seems to be the one behind the Burn Trap and Glitch Trap this whole time, as people would like to theorize, which in my opinion makes sense. Meaning FNAF had actually entered into a new era, new game developer, new story, and finally, the movies. As of now, game-wise, would just be Help Wanted sequel, the Into the Pit game, and Secret of the Mimic. I think. So I kind of want to talk about the movies for a second, because we had waited for nearly 8 to 9 years for at least news on a movie, much less a planned trilogy. At least we heard it being thrown from studio to studio until Blumhouse picked it up finally, and then Scott told us about scripts he made about stuff like Cassidy and Michael, and it was finally to the point years later when we finally see screenshots of production, such as the sign, exterior, and even one of the animatronics from afar. I don't know if it's usually like this for movie productions, but it felt like, at least this movie, it felt like a really nice destination spot you'd want to go to on a road trip. Like, if you're hearing about this, if you were there at the time this was being shot, you'd probably want to drive by and see how it looked from afar. It would have been a nice memory made for most people, I think. Like, seeing something for the movie actually be done after all these years felt amazing. And it would all lead up to the day the trailer dropped. It was then I knew, honestly, that this would be the best movie I would not want to miss for a lifetime. I personally didn't care if it wasn't what people would expect for a horror movie. For a horror movie. We had waited years for this. I'm just glad we got anything instead of nothing. That was pretty much all I could say until I went to see it in theaters with my sister. It was a night showing of the movie, and after coming out of the theater, being able to hear the post-credits scene, I felt accomplished. I felt like I was finally at peace. Sure, it wasn't really what people would wanted for the first movie based on the first game, but I feel like his words still fit when he was making it. It wasn't really made for the public, it was made for the fans. And at the time, there were fans of many ages and demographics. Like people that were there since day one, or people getting into it now through games like Help Security Breach or Help Wanted. Which was okay, people had fun, and memories were made, and it was a success in the box office. Despite its flaws, I'd say Scott was able to succeed in what he had made for the movie. All I could really ask for was Markiplier showing up, but that's all. I know that's like kind of unfair, but still. And when we would get a sequel based on the second game, I was expecting the same thing. Trailers looked good, animatronics were beautiful, and the story didn't seem too complicated, which, as long as it wasn't complicated like FNAF 4, it was fine by me, personally. And when it came out, as much as I wanted to see it opening night, mainly for the popcorn bucket, I had to settle with seeing it a few nights later. It was like very late at night, showing I wanted to see. And the area where my theater was, it doesn't really relate to the movie, it just relates to my experience seeing it. But I was able to see the parking lot having purple lights like all throughout, and there was a faint like drizzle of rain going out, and being able to see that felt serene, coming both in and out of the movie. It was just a really perfect way to end off my night. And seeing the movie do most things right by my book, having some unexpected things I can't really go into right now, because I don't know if anyone may have seen the movie or not. Circus baby. I had a really good time. I had my critiques, but so did everyone else, honestly. I can't really argue. I was able to enjoy my company finally. I finally was able to do something by myself because of this series. To get back on track with the games though, there wasn't really much going on with Help Wanted 2, memory-wise for me. I was able to see and it was pretty fun. It looked like a fun game. I didn't really get really attached to it, sadly. But Secret of the Mimic was a really big one for me as of recent years. Steel and Scott were able to hype this announcement for the game. Like, not only as soon as we were able to get the Mimic, but it was on the 10th year anniversary. Like, it was really cementing the fact that this was gonna be a new point in the story of FNAF. And I think it was a good way of going about it. Especially having the game revolve around our new antagonist more. It felt more relieving than having William Afton just be back again. Sadly enough though, we wouldn't get as much trailers, much like Security Breach. It was even a little bit more bare bones than Security Breach, because hell, it was even to the point where I started making it like an ongoing joke with some of my friends. Every time a big showcase would be going on, or like a Nintendo Direct or Game Fest or whatever, I would always be saying that Secret of the Mimic is gonna be there. It would even go on like until after the game came out, which when it did, it was honestly one of Seawolf's better games so far in terms of FNAF. I got to play it day one with my friends, and we were able to get at least 2 of the 3 endings at the time. And I could say for certain that the story was more digestible, and it was able to even shine on more interesting factors to consider for the grander lore. Gameplay was fun, and the design of the location and the Mimic was really refreshing. It felt new, and I can't really argue for that. I can't really argue about that being a bad thing. That pretty much covers up everything, I think. We're now coming up on the 12th year, and as of writing this, I was able to cover up most of my history, although I did miss a few things. One of them being what FNAF really inspired me and a lot of people to do. Animation being the first one, obviously. I think as far as when the first game came out, the series was always known not just for the scary games, quote unquote, but also the fan work, the community that was being it was also the fan work made. People in the community making a lot of good music, art, mainly the 2D and 3D animations for me at least. They were something to either hold me up until the next game would come out, or when things just felt like too much to deal with. They gave me comfort, but as I kept watching all that stuff, it turned into inspiration more than comfort. They gave me something to look towards. Very talented people like the Hollis Dog, Derby Horse, Eready, or known as Emir, In the Shadows, and so many more people in the community were able to just make things with so much value that were just revolving around FNAF as a medium And they were able to just do that for fun. It felt more than comforting. It kind of gave me hope. And that's what kept me going, at least to this day. Wanting to try and be like that? Hell, it was my reason to make the channel in the first place when I was a kid. And hopefully to get good enough to make art that would hopefully give people the same kind of inspiration I had. Is it good for long term? I wish I knew for sure. All I really know is I would rather try and fail than not do anything about it. And if I do fail, I would rather keep trying. I don't really care how long it would take me. That's just how much this series means to me. Not only did it give me something to do with myself, but it also gave me a chance to connect with people around the world. It wasn't just the fact that I would meet people through Discord that were also doing FNAF animations, and I was able to connect and collab with at least a few of them, or at least just be in good faith with them at the time. It was people outside of animation, just getting to know people that not only know the series but would want to enjoy alongside me. It felt like I wasn't alone. Hell, I was able to even find people in the worst place possible on the internet, being VR chat, just through FNAF alone. I feel like at the time when I first started out on VR chat, the one thing I would really do would just be going around with a voice changer, pretending to be one of the characters from FNAF 4, being Plushtrap. And I believe that alone was how a lot of people at the time knew me. There was just that Plushtrap guy. And as time went on, I was able to open up a bit more. Instead of, it wasn't just me being a character, it was just me. Me being a little silly dumbass with my friends. And throughout that time, I started to learn more stuff outside of FNAF 2 again. I started to learn like certain animes I would watch with friends, certain other games like Omori. I was able to be more outside of FNAF because of it. This series was able to push me towards doing things I never thought I'd be doing without it, I feel like. And that's why I want to keep going doing the things I do. Even if there may not be a reward in it, I'm at least having fun while doing it. And I want people out there to do the same. If you feel like there's something you want to do, if it's something you're unsure about, or anything like that, take your time with it. There really isn't a finish line for this. It's okay to go at it in your own pace. The only thing that matters is how you want things to work out. Remember, FNAF, this series, is 12 years old, and it still doesn't have a complete story. So who's to say you should have it all figured out too? Only Scott will know how the story goes and ends with FNAF, much like you know how your story will go and end. So take your time. Enjoy the things that make you happy. Take risk. Write the story the way you want it. You have all the time in the world to make it one hell of a good one. That's all I can say for now. I hope to write again, or maybe animate something for the 13th anniversary. Until then, I'll see you all on the flip side.